Hey, this is
Hello.
Andrew. This is Andrew Brown with Chai Tea Tai Chi, and the my good friend, new friend Arlene Dormio is here as well.
Start talking. All right.
Greet.
I was going to say, hello, welcome to the Tai Chi web show. And I'm your host, Arlene Dormio. And today I'm interviewing Andrew Brown about Tai Chi Mind Body Mastery online learning community and the Tai Chi Apprentice Instructor program. In a previous interview, Andrew, you talked about Masters of Legend and their superpowers. Can you share a story of a Master of Legend that inspired you personally and talk about how that story has influenced your practice?
Okay, Masters of Legend. All right. So if anyone ever watches kung fu movies, they're called wuxia films. They're a lot of fun, and they are full of legendary tales. My favorite of all of them for Tai Chi, because Tai Chi is my calling and my where I went. Zhang Sun Feng. He's supposed to be the founder of Tai Chi. He was supposedly a great martial arts master. He trained at the Shaolin Temple for I think at least 5 years, and also did many other arts before he founded the Wudong Temple on Wudong Mountain. One of the things he was said to do was he could grab a snake by its head before it would strike. He could catch a tiger and take it to the ground so he could not be attacked by tigers. He was able to catch arrows. There was all this crazy mythological. It sounds like mythology. I'm not going to say it is or not. He was said to have lived 1,000 years as well. And so there's lots of things about him that I think are beautiful and wonderful and things to aspire to. Qigong, as Dane has said before, every minute of Qigong gives you about 7 minutes extra life than you would have had. So that's practicing. That's the mind body health practice, longevity practice. So that was one of the stories that just pushed me. Like, he does, the guy who founded this martial art is so amazing that they tell these stories about him. So even if the stories are embellished by 10 times, I'm still willing to check out the martial art. And once I did, I was like, holy crap, this is an amazing thing to study. Great for you, great for your whole life. Doesn't matter. You don't need to fight people on a day-to-day basis to understand how great Tai Chi is. It gives you a lot more than just, oh, I can defend myself.
And it sounds like now that you are learning more and more about Tai Chi, you can see how it's possible those stories are really true. And you could maybe do that too.
Maybe. I did read about someone recently who died. They claimed to be 250 years old, and they had been practicing qigong and meditation and eating very healthy and clean. They said they've just been doing it for 250 years. They lived on a mountain and they only ate berries and local herbs, and they practiced qigong every day and they meditated and they lived to 250. That's what he claimed. There was some photos, it's China, so the records of China are a little questionable, but he was definitely old when he died. He was I think he was about 120 at the very, just looking at him, you're like, oh, that guy, he's like 120 years old. So, but he claimed to be 250. And there was some
Well,
document provided that was from the 1800s. So,
since you brought that up, since you brought him up, this one who you couldn't really verify, uh, what what is the oldest qigong master that you know?
the oldest Qigong master I know, every Qigong master I've ever met has been more in their prime than in their late stages. So if I want to meet the older people who, are like 100 years old and they're still strong and capable, I kind of got to go to China and go meet those people. That's the only way I'm going to meet those people, because they're not just hanging around San Diego. So, yeah, you don't meet those kind of people in San Diego. San Diego's great, but it's not a Qigong capital of the world.
All right. Well, those Qigong masters who were able to do such amazing feats, they passed on through various ways, practices of being able to do those things. And wrestling tigers is pretty impressive. Yeah. So what daily practices do you engage in? Especially since you're in this apprenticeship program, a lot of the practices that you were already engaged in on a daily basis as part of your martial arts practice are also the same practices that you would do for your daily practice in the apprenticeship program. So what are those practices and how have they changed since you've been in the apprenticeship program?
So one of the things I started doing since starting martial energetics was, I call it my daily hundreds. 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats. So basic physical capability. I always want to maintain that. Secondarily, Qigong or breathwork practice. I do that on a daily basis, which also entails meditation. So I meditate, practice my Qigong, practice my strength, and just general body function every single day. And there's no end to that, because even when I reach your age, Arlene, I want to be capable of doing 100 squats, 100 sit-ups, 100 push-ups every day. So I definitely don't want to lose that kind of thing, because I've met too many I've met students and I've met peers and superiors who have lost those kind of ability. Guys who were amazing when they were 35, maybe even 45, but they just let it go. And if you let it go, it's gone, and it's so hard to get back. So continuous daily practice is the only way to keep it. If you let that practice go for 5-10 years, you're not going to do it. In 10 years down the line, it's like, oh, I'm going to start doing push-ups again. It's going to take some time to build back up to that 100. Yeah. So. And
you can maintain your strength into old age. Yep. You lose a little bit of muscle mass, but that shouldn't really affect your strength that much. Yes. If you are making the most of that muscle mass you have left. So that will keep you on track to doing those amazing things.
Mm-hmm. I do have a good friend named Ray Leal. He's a 8th degree Kempo black belt, teacher, master teacher. He is 65 at this point. I know he can still do 100 knuckle push-ups on command. You could just tell him, like, hey, can you show me how to do 100 knuckle push-ups? He'd be like, all right, just drop and do them. Because he's never, ever quit. Even when he had no cartilage in his knee and he was hobbling, he still was able to throw a kick to your head if he needed to. Mm-hmm. He's just that kind of person.
And being that kind of person yourself, can you tell us how your superpowers are showing up from doing those daily practices?
Okay. This is something that maybe only martial artists will understand, but I've talked about this on stage before, that martial artists have superpowers. And one of our superpowers is our reflexes. So practicing with your peers and having them throw punches at your face and practicing the forms and doing all the meditation and stuff, it gives you reflexes that the general populace just doesn't understand. They just don't get, and they don't have. And so when you do something which seems normal to you, from an outside perspective, it looks like you just did something amazing. You think, no big deal, who cares? I saw the thing falling and I put my hand in the right spot and caught it without it hitting the ground. But everyone else is like, how'd you catch that? How'd you do that? Like, that was so fast. And it was just like, that was not a big deal. I don't know what you're on about. That happens to me on a monthly basis. So that's one of the superpowers that superpowers. They're not superpowers. They're powers that any human can get. You just have to put in the time and the effort. So it's not this, it's not X-Men. It's just practice. We all have it. We just have to practice.
All right. Can you talk a little bit about other activities you're doing in the apprenticeship instructor program? In particular, tell me about the groups you're teaching, how they get together, where they meet, what a class looks like.
Sure, of course. So I've been studying Tai Chi and martial arts for about 15 years. I picked up martial energetics starting, I think, say 18 months ago. And since then, say 12 months ago, I started teaching at the San Diego Chinese Historical Museum every Saturday at 9 a.m. And that's a basic Tai Chi class, very fundamental. Every single class is about the same. I'd say 90% identical. But every single one of them is very fundamental and very important. And if you can master the skills I teach in that 1 hour, then you are well on your way to being a Tai Chi player. So that class is dear to my heart because I think practicing your basics every single day, every single week is as important as taking your breaths, as eating your breakfast. You just got to do it. If you don't do your basics, you're never going to have anything good because the advanced skills are just basics plus. It's just keep doing your basics, keep getting good at them, get so good at them that they're second nature, and then advanced skills just come. So that's definitely important. I also teach a push hands class. I host a push hands class. There's a lot of good people that come to that class, and I always pair them up with beginners because I want the beginners to get the most they can out of that class. And then after the class is kind of over, we stay for an extra 15 minutes, and we all push with each other and knock each other over and do more of the advanced skills. And then I teach a self-defense class as well, and that focuses really on the anatomy. Someone once asked me what would be the first thing you teach in self-defense class, and I told them anatomy, and they were very surprised by that answer. And I said, hey, if a 100-pound woman understands the anatomy of the human body, she can easily take down a 250-pound man who's all muscle if she knows what she's doing. If she has no idea and all she did was learn how to punch or learn how to block, that she's not going to defend herself if that guy's coming at her. But if she knows how to take his eyes, knows how to take his balance, she knows enough. And so I start with those fundamentals, and as I work with people, they get better and better, and then eventually get to the point where they can easily throw me to the ground. And I'm a 210-pound, 6'1" person. So I have a few students who are like 5'6" that can easily throw me over their shoulder.
So in the class that you teach at the Chinese Historical Society, what kind of people come to that class? It's
a wide range. I've had 10-year-old kids up to 80-year-old women. And I have this one student, Sonia, who's 80-something years old, recovering from a broken leg, cancer survivor, just indomitable spirit. She's wonderful. I love her. And then I've had teenagers come in who don't even pay attention. And you got to deal with that. And that's just part of the class because the class is open to all. It's free to enter. So I welcome everybody. And I work with
a wide range of people who come to participate, and it's at a level that everyone who's there can work to their potential.
Yes. Yeah. And if you come multiple times, I start to add in extra skills and Like we'll be doing the normal exercise that they've done 15, 20 times at this point. But then I start to say, okay, well, let's start adding stuff since you've done this. You know what you're doing. I don't need to do the beginner stuff with you anymore. I can start adding to the advanced stuff, just personal one-on-one, maybe one-on-two, like with pairs. But that's kind of how I bring people up. And then I always offer like, hey, if you want further study, we have other classes. But so Saturdays, I teach the 3 classes, push hands, Tai Chi, and self-defense. And then during the week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I also teach more advanced Tai Chi and self-defense classes.
Recently, before I ask that, what is one of the hardest things for new students to learn?
How to be still. To find stillness is to find power, but people have a real tough time finding stillness. If you put someone in a meditative stance for just standing meditation and just say, just stand here for 2 minutes. That's all you have to do. All you have to do is keep breathing and relax and focus on your breath and just be in that position for 2 minutes. And people they'll start and then they'll, it's only been a minute, and then they're already dropping. They're already getting out of the stance. They're standing up. They're losing their meditation, and it's like it's only 2 minutes. But even those 2 minutes are hard for a lot of people. So that's one of the toughest things to teach is people just to calm down to a relaxed point. Relaxation is the fundamental truth of Tai Chi. If you can't relax, you're going to have a real tough time. But I teach.
One thing that doesn't help people calm down is to say, calm down. So,
right.
So what is your strategy for helping people when they have that difficulty?
I make them breathe. I just ask them politely. I can't make them do anything, but I ask them politely, like, hey, really breathe with me. I'm going to breathe. Just try and keep my pace and really take that deep breath and let it come out, and then just sit and relax with that breath. And don't worry about anything else, because during this time, no one's going to mess with you. No one's going to hurt you. You don't have to worry about anything. I'm right here to make sure that no one bothers you whatsoever. So you are free to relax completely.
And once you can get someone to get that,
then everything opens up. Then it's like the flower. Now they can bloom. But without that, without being able to find relaxation, without being able to just chill and breathe, that's the beginning. That's where they have to start. And if I can't get them to do that, then it's really tough to get them to do much.
Okay. Now I'd like to switch gears and have you tell me about your recent trip to China.
Oh, yeah.
And visit to the Shaolin Temple. Tell me about, how did that come about, and how was the experience? And what did you bring back?
I am very lucky to have met the people I have met in my life. And during my time with my first martial arts school, I met, so that was Jing Institute in San Diego. And I met some great people. One of them was Wes Scarpius, who introduced me to Phil Sahagan. And Phil Sahagan hosted this trip to China. He just posted on Facebook one day, like, hey, we're going to China. If you want to come, send me a message. And I'm like, I want to go to China. I've never been. I've always wanted to go. I've always been, the trip to Shaolin, it's kind of like doing the trip to Mecca. It's like equivalent in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I finally got an opportunity. I'm like, I'm doing it. I have money. I can go to China. I'm going. And I got the passport. I got the visa. I got everything done. And I went, and I was so happy. It was absolutely difficult. That's the best adjective for the whole trip. It was difficult because everything about it was hardship. Everything about it was denying yourself. Everything about it was pushing yourself harder than you've ever done before. So 8 hours a day of training, we started out with like a 1 to 2 hour class every day of qigong and push hands with an internal master named Henny Eleonora. He's based out of Holland. He lives in Holland. He was amazing, and then we did 3 2-hour classes with the Shaolin teacher, and throughout the day. It was just an amazing experience. So hard. Multiple people were like, I'm going to quit. I can't handle this. I can't do this. There's no way. And then we all just grabbed them and said, you can do this. I'm doing it. I didn't think I could do it. And we just held them and held their hand and said, we'll rub your back. What do you need? What do you need? Water? We supported each other. Like, that was the only way we got through. Is there was 25 of us and we supported each other. That was the only way we could do it. It was a great time. We learned what's called Gongfa, which is it was basically Shaolin basics. It was a very basic form, had 8 techniques total in 4 directions. Very simple. Most people look at it, people who've done wushu for 5-10 years, people who've done karate, they'd be like, oh, that's nothing. That's not even a big deal. But that form teaches you so much about how to use your body properly, how to generate power, and how to really use your core. And even though Shaolin is mostly considered an external martial art, it's not. It's at least as much internal as it is external. So it's a lot of meditation, a lot of focus. It's really just teaching you to endure whatever you can. One of my favorite things that the host, Philip Zagan, told us is, let your body die so that your mind can push through. And so we would be sitting horse stance, and we'd be doing the Gongfa form in front of our coach, and he would just say, again, 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 and we would just do it over and over and over, and he would have us pause and come around and do corrections, and they're like, don't get out of your stance, don't lose your stance, maintain focus. It was an experience, to say the least.
Intense.
Oh yeah.
It sounds really intense.
Yeah, we learned a hand form, and then they also taught us a double broadsword form, which is pretty cool. But the hand form was definitely worth the whole trip, just learning that little form. And then the bonds I made with people were great, because we lived in what we called the hostel, because it was just a bunch of bedrooms, and we all shared one bathroom. And we would all stretch together at night and rub Dita Jiao on our yeah, it was an intense experience, but it wasn't the vacation that people take to the Bahamas. It was an exercise vacation.
Qigong boot camp.
Yeah, Kung Fu boot camp. That's exactly what.
Boot camp. Yeah. That sounds awesome. And so the forms that you learned, are you passing those on, or what did you learn that you brought back that you are still carrying with you and sharing?
So the Gongfa hand form, I'm practicing that a few times a week. The guy who taught us, Muming Tao, he has been practicing that form for 20 years. He was 27, and he'd been practicing since he was 7 years old. So he said that he's been practicing that form every single day since he was 7 years old. And it's a great, great, great form. Very powerful and very fundamental. And it's like I was saying, practice your basics. The only way you're going to get better is by practicing your basics. And that is the basic for that school, is the Lohan Shaolin Kung Fu School in Dongfeng. Yeah.
Okay. I have an end broadcast sign, so I will say it's been great talking to you, and I hope we can do it again soon. Thanks.
I hope so too, Arlene. You have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Thank you.
All right.